as it is. It's just not possible. The conceptual mind is never able to see things as they are. So when we say open awareness, it basically means being aware of something which is open, being aware of something as they are, as they stand. And as they stand, it's always wonderful. As they stand, it's never nothing wrong about it. Because there is some sense of beauty, truth in them. If you look at anything as the situation in their everyday life, sometimes, for example, if you can give some examples of it, sometimes very difficult, challenging situation in a life, that you feel like this is the most difficult, challenging situation in a life that I'm facing right now. This is the most painful thing that I'm facing right now in my life. So if you look at that, in that very moment when you feel like that, or when you're seeing like that, if you look at that very moment from the eye of openness, that means basically somehow you are need to be able to shut down one aspect of the mind, which is rationalizing it, judging it, labeling it, interpreting it, making a lot of stories out of it. Just ability to shut down that part and be able to open other side, which sees everything as they are. And even those most difficult situations, if you look as they are, there's nothing that difficult about it. There's some sense of peace, some sense of quietness, some sense of perfection, some sense of beauty, even in a painful situation. So, but for us, it's like almost impossible to shift those ways of looking from one place to another place. I'm recently, probably many of you know this quite well-known book called My Stroke of Insight, about brain researcher from Harvard who wrote a book about her recovery of brain stroke. Take many years, and particularly a chronological journey about how it actually happened when a stroke happened. So basically what she's saying, I will just say the main core part of the message, what she's really saying in that book is saying that when her rationality part, when it stopped, that area where the stroke happened, and when it stopped down, she was able to see everything perfect. In the very moment when she was having a stroke, she might not survive, but there was no fear, there was a beauty, there was a perfection, there was okayness. It was just perfect. And the second moment when the rationality and thought came back, she was freaking out, she was worried about the death, she's worried about this, she's worried about that, she's worried about everything. But she was able to, during those transition, for a couple of hours, she was able to go between back and forth. It was not her choice, but she went through, because of the stroke, she went back from one approach to the other approach of rationality, logic, language, to open awareness, just awareness, seeing things as they are. So what she calls it, she used the word also nirvana. She also used the word called la la land. So that is, for her, is a la la land. So it's a beautiful experience. So now the question for all of us is, do we need to go through stroke to experience that la la land? We need to go through stroke to have that experiences of emptiness? Do we need to go through stroke to have that experiences of openness? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that is the whole, I think, most of the rich ancient traditions, all the spiritual traditions, who is trying to send a message, I think common message, I think that everybody does agree in, I think, in this openness, this open wisdom. So in our own approach, if you look at the, like in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, if you look at the word wisdom, where we interpret the word wisdom, what the wisdom means, that's what exactly it means. Of course, there's a lot of kind of complicated philosophical classic definitions about what these things mean. In a mundane level of language, in a simple level of language, it just means complete openness. So that if you're totally able to be open to what you're experiencing you are seeing some truth in how the things are, and that is when you're not able to filter through your pain, hope, fears, and so on. So but the world that we experience, constantly as we go back and forth. So the question is, is it really possible? Can we really trust that moment? Then that is exactly the point. The trust, that question will be, when will be the most difficult time? Of course, we probably might have faced those difficult moments. We might be facing those difficult moments. We might for sure will face those difficult moments. And when we do face those difficult moments, no matter how difficult that is, that very moment, there is no solution, there is no real protection unless you have the way of looking at that right way. Of course, if you look at that right way, the best right way, of course, I would say two right ways you can look at it. One, in a non-conventional sense of best right way to look at it, look at completely with openness. Completely with openness. See as it is. See the perfection, whatever it is. Let's say even the notion of death. If you're facing it, what's wrong about it? Nothing wrong about it. Nothing wrong about it. But can you see that process, that challenge, that experience when it comes to you? Can you see from that eye who sees as it is? As it is. It's just the process. It's like being born. Nothing different to die than being born. I always say, if you hate to die, then should not have been born. That's probably the only real solution to avoid to die is not to take a birth. So if the birth was fine, the death will be fine. But somehow the experience itself, unless you're able to see things as they are, will be very difficult to feel fear and anxiety and all the pain and suffering around it, suffering of the death. And the same thing with aging, same thing, like probably we don't have to wait for that part, right? That every single day you begin to face that piece of experience. Every time when you look at it from that eye of openness, you feel fine. You feel there is some sense of youth, awareness, changeless. You feel that, some experience of that, some sense of eternal, changeless experience of your being. Some sense of indestructible aspect of your being, which is true. Who you are can never be destroyed by anything. But who you're trying to be, probably difficult to be. Who you're trying to protect yourself, or whatever the identity you have, for sure you will lose. You will lose. It's a guarantee. Even you look at our possessions. The one thing is a guarantee, is whatever we possess today is guaranteed to be not yours. Guaranteed, right? Anybody has a doubt about it? No. The house that you live in now, for sure sometime somebody else will be enjoying it. That's fine, right? And you would not even have a clue who was staying there before. Oh, I have no idea. These are the truth.